Have you ever met someone, really looked up to them, but didn't really know how to continue the relationship? Today, I will give you some tips on how to put yourself in the best possible position to build relationships with people we meet at conferences, socials, networking events, and so on. Lots of people see networking as building relationships with someone who might be able to do something for them in the future. This might be the reason why there's a little bit of discomfort and unease around the term networking. For me, I think of networking as building a friendship with a peer or even a mentor relationship with someone a few years ahead of me in my career. And if we happen to be able to help each other in the future, that's an added bonus. For the purpose of this video, I'll assume that you've met the person, have had some sort of interaction with them, whether it be a one-on-one setting, maybe they spoke at a conference you attended, or maybe you spoke with them in a small group setting. Essentially that you're not blind reaching out to them, even if your interaction has been one-sided. Whether it's a 15-minute networking call or you listen to a talk that they gave at a conference, always write down the main points that they discussed, maybe even some personal notes that they shared. This way, when you follow up with them via email or LinkedIn, you can give some context as to why you're reaching out. For example, if you've had a personal conversation with someone, maybe they mentioned a kid, and it happens to be September, you can say, hey, school is starting for your kid. How is that transition going? There might be different ways in which you can weave in the previous conversation, which may help them feel heard. It's always a good idea to connect on LinkedIn with people you've met in real life. And the important part is to send a message as you send that connect invitation. For example, if you met them at a conference, you can say, I really enjoyed the talk that you gave at X conference on Y topic. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise. I'm really excited to try out your tips the next time I do X thing. And this works great for a couple of reasons. If you ever want to message them again, it will have the message from your invitation to connect in the history of your thread. Then it gives them context into how you two met. The work doesn't end once you connect with them on LinkedIn. I think it's a great idea to engage with anyone that you want to build a relationship with. If they post an article on LinkedIn, feel free to like and comment on it, and this brings your name up to the top of their notifications tab as well. And if you do it consistently, that keeps you top of mind. And the idea here is you're not only engaging when you need something, you're also engaging when you don't. And I think that's the core component of building out, first and foremost, a solid friendship. When I started my YouTube channel, I posted my first video on LinkedIn just to let people know that I had started a YouTube channel. I didn't get too much engagement on my post, but for the people who did, they weren't all people that I spoke to on a regular basis. And I was touched by their support. So when we engage with other people, it lets other people know that we are showing them support and we are cheering them on. If you're lucky enough to get one-on-one time from someone whom you're trying to learn from, go into the call prepared. And it's more than just having a list of questions that you want to ask them. Go a step further and create an agenda for how you want the call to go. If you feel comfortable, send the agenda to the person you're trying to meet beforehand. This way they know what you're trying to get out of the call and they can tailor the conversation to what you need. Senior year of college, I reached out to a variety of people to learn more about the industry and companies that they worked at. I was once on a networking call with someone to learn more about their experience at a specific company. I was a little bit nervous, and I kid you not, I started the conversation by saying, so how was your experience at X company? And that was such a general question that would have led nowhere. And she was nice enough to redirect the conversation by saying something along the lines of, I think this call would be much more beneficial to you if we talked about what you're looking for in your career and what your options are right now. And that led to a much more productive conversation. So I learned from that call to always go into networking calls with an agenda. When we ask for a one-on-one conversation, these people are very generous to give us the time out of their day to speak with us. So the very least we can do is have an agenda with all of the talking points that we want to hit. And if the conversation goes elsewhere, that's fine also, but being very mindful of their time is important as well. This person also gave me another great tip that I will remember forever, which is that if we ever come across an article or maybe like a video online that reminds us of a conversation that we had with the person we're trying to build a relationship with, send it to them with a message saying, this article really reminded me of what we discussed earlier. Really interesting how they incorporated X, Y, and Z points. And this is another example of engaging before we ask for something, if that time ever comes. If you're coming off of a one-on-one call or a favor that someone did for you, don't forget to send a thank you message. When people take the time out of their day to help me, I know that they're investing in me and investing in my success. So I like to make sure that they know they're appreciated and how their advice or how their help impacted me. So you might say, I tried this tip from our networking conversation and I was so surprised by how much more confident I felt. Something along those lines. That's just an example, but letting them know that they're providing value, if they are, makes them much more inclined to help us in the future. If you're a student, use your status as a student to your advantage. I find that so many people are much more willing to help students, especially as they're figuring out where they want to go in their career. In my last year of school, I was a little bit undecided as far as which industry I wanted to pursue. I reached out to people who had graduated from my university and were working in industries that I was interested in, and I got a pretty high response rate. I think this might change depending on how close the university alumni network is, but I will say I also targeted people who had a similar background as mine. So people who are women, people who are Asian, and I think that also helped in general. So if you're a student, I think it's worth reaching out to people who have a career path that you might want to take and just learn from them, reach out to them and ask for a short phone call. And as always, don't forget to send that thank you note. I hope this video gave you some ideas on how you might be able to build closer relationships with other professionals you might admire. If you have any questions, comment down below. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.